Hello everyone, this is Ashrita from Truly Nutrition. I am a consulting nutritionist. I did my masters in applied nutrition and I am a certified food and spirit practitioner. You can reach me at trulynutrition.ediet.clinic. Today's topic is about deep frying oils and what is the best oil for deep frying and what are the best ways to deep frying, because now this is the holiday season and soon in South India we get Sankranti, where people get together and celebrate the festive with all sweets and deep fried food. And also India is a land of celebration, so we always when we invite some guest or we have some occasion at home, or is if there is any special day in that month, during those times we often go with deep fried food. So on and off we go with the deep frying. So this video I would like to dedicate on what is the best way to deep fry and what is the best oil to deep fry and what are the conditions to follow when you are going with a deep frying recipe. There are a couple of research papers that specify about the best oils on used for deep frying, and Healthline website have also come up with different oils that are used for deep frying. So gathering all those information, I would like to start these sessions with the best oil for deep frying. When you are looking out for doing a deep fried dish, make sure it is rich in saturated fats, because the saturated fats are very stable for heat. They don't get degraded easily. So one thing to look at the oil is if the oil is saturated, because the shelf life stability of the oil will be very high. And if the oil is like coconut oil, then the antioxidants present in the oil are also good. So these antioxidants will help to prevent the oxidation of oil, and because when the oil becomes oxidized, it gets rancid very easily and the shelf life of the product will also get affected. So first thing you have to look into when you're going with a deep frying oil, if the oil is saturated. And second thing, it should be heat stable, like it should be very stable for heat, and the smoking point of the oil should be more, like at higher temperatures the oil should start smoking. So then that oil is good for deep frying. And these are the two major things you look into when you are going to select a oil for deep frying food. Coming to different oils which have these properties, like saturated fats, high saturated fats, and also high antioxidant levels. The oils include olive oil, coconut oil, and clarified butter, that is ghee. These three are the options which have high stability, which helps to enhance the shelf life of the product, and also which have more of saturated fats. So these are the three oils. And some articles also mentioned that we can use peanut oil, groundnut oil for deep frying, but the point is groundnut also have some polyunsaturated fats. So these polyunsaturated fats gets hydrolyzed easily, and they don't have they get easily oxidized. So to some extent peanut oil is good, but if the temperature of the deep frying is high, then peanut oil doesn't sustain, because it does have some amount of polyunsaturated fats. So these are the best oils for deep frying. And the other oils like canola, rice bran, other oils, these are rich in polyunsaturated fats, so their stability will be very low, that like they get easily oxidized. The polyunsaturated fats, they get easily break down. So do not go with the refined filtered oils. Sometimes what happens is these filtered oils, refined oils, by the time they reach you, they might be hydrolyzed partially. So they might get you might get partially hydrolyzed oil if you are buying some these manufactured refined oils. Sometimes they might be hydrolyzed. Even hydrolyzed oils are not good for your arteries, and they might rise your triglyceride levels. So these are the oils which you can go with the deep frying. They are olive oil, then coconut oil, and clarified ghee. And if you are cooking at low temperature, sometimes you can also use peanut oil. Coming to the economical and most available oil, I feel coconut oil is the best thing for deep frying. So now let us see what are the measures you should take when you are choosing coconut oil for deep frying. Let us first talk about the coconut oil. Coconut oil is very rich in saturated fats, and to some extent they have monounsaturated fats also, but majority of the oil is saturated fat. And saturated fat, yes, it is a debatable question. Is saturated fat good for your heart, or it's not good for your heart? But American Heart Association has limited the intake of saturated fats to 5 to 6% of your calories per day can come from saturated fats. So taking that into consideration, you can use saturated fats like this coconut oil for deep frying, but it should be used occasionally, not on a regular basis, because coconut oil is having the property to increase your cholesterol levels, both HDL and LDL. Both the cholesterol levels get increased if you are using coconut oil very frequently. So limit usage of coconut oil for occasional purpose like deep frying, or sometimes if you are making some curry you can add, but don't add it on daily basis. As it is very rich in saturated fats, coconut oil have more shelf life. And there is also an interesting study that coconut oil can have longer shelf life though it is heated for a longer period of time. Let's say it is heated at 170 degrees centigrade for 8 hours also, its shelf life is not spoiled, like it's not getting hydrolyzed easily. There is one research article which says this. So in this point of view also, if you are deep frying for a longer period of time, then you can choose coconut oil for deep frying. This is one advantage of coconut oil. It is rich in saturated fats. It can withstand high temperatures, and also it can for a long duration of frying also you can use coconut oil. So this is about the goodness of coconut oil. Now let us see what are the different factors you should consider while deep frying. First thing is temperature. Make sure the oil temperature is very apt for deep frying. To check this, either you can go with different kinds of deep frying machines nowadays available. Those things are coming up with the temperature control. You can set up the temperature and you can fry your things at the same temperature, so that when you are controlling the temperature, the oil absorption, the food doesn't absorb more oil. So this is one thing you should check with the temperature of the oil. You can use such kind of machines. If you don't have, you can add you can just nowadays we also get small thermometers that you can fix to the vessel and see the temperature of the oil. Or if you don't have that, simply you add some amount of flour or batter which you are going to fry initially to the pan. So if it starts bubbling, then the oil is enough, it is at its temperature to start with the deep frying. So checking the temperature is must. And second thing, you have to look into the smoking point. Smoking point is nothing but initially when the oil starts to get out fumes, when the fume starts coming out of the oil, when smoke starts coming out of the oil, that is the smoking point of the oil. If you see it's a smoke coming out of the oil, it indicates that oil is slowly degrading. So at that point you should reduce the flame of the oil. So at what temperature it is turning out to smoke, that is a smoking point. So for few oils, oils easily turn out to smoke. For few oils, they can withstand little high temperatures. That is the reason we are using now coconut oil. So you should check with the smoking point. And third thing is the oil, few oils have flavor, like coconut oils have some certain flavor and smell to it. Similarly, olive oil have some smell to it. This smell gets vaporized at a certain point when you start heating, so you need not worry about that. And they also add little flavor to your dish. So make sure if you are okay with that flavor, and if you are okay with that smell, you can go ahead with deep frying with the coconut oil. But at certain point when you start heating, initially you get more smell from the oil, and slowly that smell also gets vanished, because once the oil starts heating. But need not worry about that. You should only check if the oil is getting smoking, and then you reduce the flame. Make sure it's not getting more smoke out of that oil. So then that is a way. You should always be cautious about the temperature in which the batter, or in which your food is being fried in that oil. So temperature is one thing. Then we spoke about the smoking point, and next thing is how frequently you can use that deep fried oil. I recommend people to once you deep fry in some oil, you just discard that oil. Do not use it for anything. But if you feel very low amount, like if you are frying papads, where you use only for little amount of time and a very low heat, in that case you can use those oils for tempering. But do not reheat the oil at the same temperature, and do not reheat it for the same duration of time period. So when you have the used oil, you can use it for tampering when you have used that deep fried oil only for smaller duration. And if you have used that oil for a longer duration, and then it is better you discard that oil. Then important point where you have to notice while discarding the oil: do not discard your oils in a drain, because especially these coconut oils and all, they as they are rich in saturated fat, when they come to room temperature, or when the temperature of the oil comes down, they get solidified, so they will clog the drains. So better do not dispose of the coconut any deep into drains. Instead, once they get solidified, you just scrape it from that vessel and then dispose it into a dustbin. Or if it is still in a liquid form, if the oil which you are using is still in liquid form, then you can throw it into a sawdust or something like that. If you have these fire buckets where they fill with the sand, you can just simply drain that oil into that. But do not drain your oils into the drainage or a sink hole, because all that drainage system gets clogged. So this is the way you have to drain your used oils. And what kind of vessel you are using for deep frying also makes a point. So do not use non-stick or aluminum kadais for deep frying. Better you can go either with iron, cast iron kadais, or stainless steel, or you can go with the brass vessels while you are deep frying, because they can withstand the heat, and at the same time the metal doesn't leach into the food. So the vessels which you are using for oil also makes a point. Then comes the food which you are cooking in the deep fried oil. Make sure the moisture content of the food is also in an ideal proportion, so that if the moisture content is very high also, your food absorbs the oil, and if it is very low also, your food absorbs the oil. Basically the mechanism of deep frying is like this. When you initially put the batter into the oil, the outer layer of that food gets initially fried, and it forms a thin crispy layer over that, so that this oil which is outside doesn't go seep into the food. Once this crispy layer is formed, the moisture within the food will help to cook inside. So basically the food cooks inside with the help of moisture that is retaining inside the food. So once you see the food is emitting some vapor out of it, it means that the inside part is being cooked with the moisture present in it. So once this crispy layer is formed, this crispy layer will prevent the oil to seep into the food, and with the surrounding temperature and the water present and the water moisture content present in the food helps to cook that. But if this moisture content is high, then the moisture gets seeped into the oil, and slowly hydrolysis of oil happens, and the oil gets degraded easily. And you cannot reuse the oil, of course, though it is not degraded also. I don't suggest to reuse the oil again for deep frying, but then the oil quality gets degraded. So the moisture content in the food which you are going to deep fry also makes a point. And what kind of food you are deep frying, like are you deep frying carbohydrates or proteins? So it that also depends upon how much oil it is taking. Usually carbohydrate rich food you can go with the deep frying, because gelatinization takes place, like the starch present in carbohydrate gets gelatinized, so much oil they don't take in. But do not deep fry vegetables because they are very rich in moisture. If you are simply deep frying them, that the excess moisture gets into the oil, the quality of the food also, the vegetable also degrades, and the quality of the oil also degrades. That is the reason when you are making pakodas or something, you mix it with some flour, so that the flour coats the vegetable, and the moisture itself in the vegetable is enough to cook the food. So these are the few factors you have to consider while deep frying. And I would also like to add one small point that when you're deep frying, make the batch very small batch. Anyways, you're not supposed to have once or twice of deep frying food in a week. So in that case, you make a small batch of the batter, and also use small kadai. When you are using small kadai, you can use a small kadai with little depth inside it. When you're using small kadai with a little deep inside, so what happens is you can use only little amount of oil in it, and make make the batter which you wanted into a small batch. Like you fry this batch, and you eat it within 1-2 days. So do not store for a longer period of time. So that is one point. And second thing is, if you wanted to reuse oil, like today you made a papad and tomorrow you can reuse the oil for tampering, but do not keep that oil for longer period. Like today you deep fried and you are using that oil over all the week, then it is not good, because the oil gets easily oxidized and rancid when it is exposed to outer air. So these are few points, and these are few factors you should keep in mind when you are deep frying. Enjoy your deep fries, and enjoy your festivals. Eat fries occasionally but not regularly, and make sure the oil which you are using, the temperature at which the food is being fried, the moisture content of the food, and the vessel which you are using to deep fry, all these matters when you are going with a deep fried food. I suggest, if you wanted to eat a deep fry, better cook it at home, because we will take care of all these things. But if you are eating deep fried food at restaurant, then you are risking your health. So enjoy the deep fries and wish you a happy holiday season. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel, and also post your comments. Feel free to post your comments. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.